Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at, ladies and gents. I am Kura Isagami, your resident Tinkerer and Metarotter, and this is the Medarot News Network, bringing you all the latest developments and happenings with our favorite pet-fighting robot series. Now this week, it looks like we're going to be starting February on a little bit of a slower note, which honestly, I openly welcome, because given the last couple of weeks with the second anniversary of Medarot S, with the release of Grain in the first half, and then Cross Messiah Z in the second, honestly, I'd say taking a slow week to kind of recoup anyone's lost ruby supply, because we've been hemorrhaging pretty heavily over these last couple weeks alone, is definitely going to be something openly welcomed and appreciated. But despite that, we still do have a number of relatively new things coming in, and a newcomer that's been debuted from Medarot 8, as you see here, a very popular Oni type by demand. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into this week's episode, which I have thus named ONI Incoming Chapter 2. With the gacha banners that we have upcoming and starting off the docket, we have KMN0 Kaimengar with a kit of Reckless, Break Hammer, Claw, Biped Legs, and the Bloodstain leg ability. Kaimengar is also capable of meta-changing into a float-based form, where his kit will change into Charge Buster, Provoke, Metaphor Seal, and the Acrobatics leg ability. After that, we have a rerun of the popular Kunoichi type KNI-01 Ready Go, with a kit of Defense Trap, Double Sword, Biped Legs, and the Mirage leg ability. And then last but not least, a very popular fan favorite ever since release and the launch of the meta change mechanic, it is the iconic KBT-06 Arc Beetle D, with a kit of Laser, Rifle, Gatling, Biped Legs, and the B-Loader leg ability. And of course, true to his name, as an upgrade to the iconic Arc Beetle, Arc D is also capable of meta change, where his kit will basically amp up a step or two into Power Rifle, into Hyper Beam, Power Rifle, Mega Gatling, and the Adapter leg ability on flight legs. So honestly, with Kaimengar, you go basically from nuker into tank, but with Arc D, you go from balanced into nuker, and you can basically swap back and forth whenever you need. So honestly, a couple pretty solid bots all the way around with this week's run of gacha banners to start off February. Kaimengar definitely is very tempting with the stats that he offers, especially with his kit overall, especially with the Break Hammer for heavy punish, Ready Go for particularly balanced and conventional sword attacks for mono female, and then of course Arc Beetle D kind of speaks for himself with the balance into nuker kit that he offers. So honestly, I'd say if you aren't necessarily at a loss for high power parts or not too keen on meta change models this week, I would recommend taking this kind of as a skip week to kind of recuperate some lost materials that we were hemorrhaging pretty heavily over the course of the last 2 weeks with the second anniversary event. Now, one thing I do want to make note of as well, just for the sake of mentioning it for those that are either new to playing the game or those that maybe have forgotten how the gacha banners for meta change models work, how they behave is that unlike other models, such as say Ready Go in this case, where you can essentially have a chance to pull for a single part or multiple parts at once, if not the whole set, with meta change capable gacha banners. So in this case, Kaimengar or Arc Beetle D, you either pull them or you don't, and then the only way you can get the mixed parts is through hard pity, which is essentially pulling several 10 pulls in a row, and then they'll eventually give you the parts one at a time up to about 25. So very expensive hard pity if you are going to try to do it that way. But like I said, if you aren't too necessarily keen on Arc Beetle D or Kaimengar or even Ready Go, I'd say take this as a skip week to kind of recoup. With the fierce battles that we have going on for this week, we have first on the mark KAB0 Grade Kabuki with a kit of Triple Virus, Wheeled Legs, and the Charm leg ability. Another ever popular model, KAP01 Kappa Lord with a kit of Beam, Double Anti-C, Sea Legs, and the Forester leg ability. And then last but not least, another anime iconic favorite, KIN0 Kintaro, with a kit of Press, Double Hammer, Biped Legs, and the Endurance leg ability. Now honestly, with the fierce battles we have this week, very similar to the gacha banners, this is going to be a relatively slow week, no newcomers as of just yet, and the models present do may or may not give something particularly game-breaking or overly meta without some raising. So if I did have to give an MVP of the week to somebody as a title, I would honestly have to give it to Grade Kabuki, since the Charm leg ability on a male model can definitely come in handy, especially on the few terrains where wheel legs can be really good at, such as say City, Road, or even Cyber, of course, if that is the case. In terms of other things that were announced, we are getting another skin added just to kind of commemorate Arc Beetle D's rerun as the as a gacha banner rerun, and we are going to be getting a Tyrell Beetle themed skin for Arc Beetle D added to the convenience store. Now, kind of similar to how I feel with the Rokusho colored Metabee, this one is particularly off-putting, I guess. Not to say that's particularly bad, because it does color pretty nice. It's just not seeing Arc Beetle D in a blue color scheme does seem kind of off to a degree. But I am interested in seeing how it does look a little better once it does go live in the game, coming later this week. In addition to that, just to commemorate the Valentine's Day and the introduction of Kaimengar, we are getting another marathon survival chapter added to the events with this coming week, simply called ONI Incoming, highlighting both Kaimengar and Sarahime as the resident ONI types currently present, or rather now present in the game. Just to go over briefly how Marathon Survival works, it is a very unique set of events where essentially you build a team as you normally would, but upon victory, the 12 parts across your 3 bots that you use are now considered banned parts. So you have to make an entirely new team using completely different parts for the next round, and those 2 upon victory will add to the banned list. So essentially it's a survival test to see how flexible you are with building teams, in addition to how well you've been keeping up on raising parts even that you even don't use. So definitely another chance to farm for some extra rubies and materials. They did highlight power-up chips and a couple other really nice rewards with this event, so do stay tuned for that, and definitely do give it a shot once it does go live in this coming week. On the community front, we do have another huge piece of news for the Westerners that have been looking for a translated release or a localized release. The long-dead Medarot 9 EN translation lives once again. It was brought to my attention fairly recently that a Discord user by the name of Ch.2, I hope I did pronounce that correctly if you are watching, my friend, officially does take up the mantle and basically will be starting the entirety of the translation project for Medarot 9 from scratch. I have seen several screenshots that were posted of the progress and need of feedback for any of the particular terms that will need translated or maybe translate into, just to kind of help save on space since it is rather limited in how they are going about with the translation. But I am hugely appreciative. I'm pretty sure I do speak for all of the Western Metarot community when I say this. Godspeed to you, Ch.2. Thank you so much for taking this up, and we are rooting for you and excited to see the final product sometime down the line as you continue to make progress towards this. But on the word of community-based and extra efforts, we are still continually looking for translators for our Medarot 3 and the Medarot Reloaded manga translation projects. There still is a lot of code and a lot of text that needs to be translated, especially with the recent chapters of the Medarot Reloaded going live and officially introducing Musha Beetle, who is my little guest head pet today, and Kairen, who is my little guest last week, as official canon models with the manga. Haven't heard a lot of progress on it just yet, but if you are currently versed in Japanese or have a hand in coding or cleaning, we are more than appreciative of any efforts that you'd be willing to provide and contribute, so we can get you up to speed on what needs done and we can get these projects knocked out and released faster. Because, as mentioned in previous episodes, there has been a lot of fan requests and fan favorites for other titles to be worked on, such as Medarot Navi, and we absolutely would love to get to it, but we don't have the manpower to do so. So if you are willing to offer some time to give us a hand or contribute some efforts, do feel free to reach out, and we are more than willing to get you in touch with the right people to get you up to speed on what needs done and what currently has been finished up to this point. But aside from all this, I believe that does cover this week's episode. Like I said, it looks like we're starting February on a relatively quieter note. Kind of slightly disappointed that we didn't quite get a collaboration announcement, as usually denoted by their schedule, typically at the last, like every other month or so through the year 2021. But we may or may not be seeing one sometime down the line, if not sometime through February, assuming all goes well. But with that being said, thanks again for stopping by, folks. If you'd like to know more, you can follow us below. On Facebook, you can follow us at the Medarot News Network page or the Metabots Forever communities there. You can also join us on Discord at the link provided and in the comments below. That'll give you a link directly to the Project Rising Beetle Discord server, where we stay the most up-to-date and the closest ear to the ground on anything related to the Medarot series. That includes my weekly updates and my weekly episodes on this channel, which basically translates all the news that they announce into English for the Western fans to kind of understand and get to know what's going on, to fan projects such as the Medarot 3 Reloaded projects and the current ongoing Medarot 9 translation project, and much, much more. You can also reach out to me personally on Twitter at IsaGamiKura for any questions, comments, or feedback that you might have to continuously improve my growing efforts towards becoming a little bit better and making each video ever so slightly better than the one before it. Do also give these fine folks a follow as well. Penguin Kotak, who is the artist that created Musha Beetle, who's present with me here today. Penguin, if you are watching this, your design was honestly awesome. I do have to admit, I was definitely a huge fan of this design when I did officially see it, and congratulations on the victory of Musha Beetle officially becoming the next of canon KBT alongside Kyren of Pochifu's Kyren model that I highlighted last week and the week before. Do also give Vector Spaceman a follow on both Twitter and on Twitch. Relatively new friend of mine that I've come to connect with just a little bit here and there. Lots of fun streams for sure, and definitely a good friend to get to know, especially for those that are big into space-themed motifs or designs, or just in general. But aside from all this, thanks again for stopping by, folks. It's always happy to have you in for a visit. Until next time, this is your host, Kura Isagami of the Medarot News Network, signing out.